What up, and welcome back to another episode of Throwback Thursday. We're continuing on with The Walking Dead. This time it's season 3, episode 13 or 14, titled Prey. Now, this episode is actually very, very good. It starts out with a flashback of Michonne and Andrea in the woods in the winter, and Michonne's walkers are tied up, and Andrea asks, "Where'd you find them? You know, you never told me where you found them." And Michonne looks at her, doesn't say anything because she's still kind of a mute. You know, we got to get that mystique aura from Michonne. And Michonne goes, "Did you just find them and cut them up, or did you know them?" And Michonne just looks at her and kind of gives her the hint, like, yeah, she knew them. And Andrew's like, "I'm so sorry." And she goes, "They weren't human to begin with." So they did something terrible to Michonne, which I remember at the time thinking they had to do something with assaulting her. Like maybe they captured her and did that because the governor does that in the comic books to Michonne, and that doesn't happen to Michonne in the show, but it kind of happened to Maggie, but not really. So I think I remember thinking that at the time, like those walkers probably did that, but she knew them in her past. And I think later on we see flashbacks of this. This is her ex-husband and somebody, I forget. Is her husband, her boyfriend, or whatever the fuck. So I forgot what exactly happened because I haven't seen this in years. So when we get to that episode, I'll figure it out. But we could figure that it is probably her boyfriend because she told Rick in the episode Clear that she used to talk to her dead boyfriend. So we got that. Then after she says that they were never human to begin with, the chain pulls, and then we cut to Woodbury present day, and the governor is in this room where he had Maggie and Glen. I think he was going to kill them or transport them somewhere else when Merle and Rick invaded. It's that same room, and he has two chains wrapped around his hands, and then he stands in the middle and he starts pulling it, and then he's like having an orgasm thinking about what he's going to do to Michonne. That's what we could get out of that scene. So then the episode starts, and we get a really good episode in a sense because it all comes down to a chase. That's why it's called Prey, pretty much at the end. So basically the episode starts and we see them packing ammo into a truck, and I think it's Milton is the one that asks first, like, "What's all this? What's this? I thought, whatever." And he goes, "Oh, the governor wants us to be ready, blah, 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 blah." So Milton's already like, and I remember when this aired, I wasn't a fan of Milton. So I was kind of like, I didn't really pay attention too much to him, but after he met with Herschel, he kind of like sees that they're just normal people trying to survive. They're not these crazy people that the governor is telling him that they are, and he knew the governor prior to the collapse of civilization. He already knows the governor's going to go overboard and going to do this. So Andrea shows up and she's like, "What's all this? I thought there was a deal." And Martinez doesn't say anything. He just gives her a look like, "There ain't no deal. We're going to kill them." And then Milton tells Andrea, "I'm sure it's just a precautionary, just in case anything happens." So then Milton goes to talk to the governor, and he's like, "Listen, I know you have this problem with Michonne, but the other people have nothing to do with this. Like, leave them alone." And then so they have a little spat, I guess. And the governor says, "Listen to me. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that my daughter, that there's still something in them that could be saved and come out? That there's a little part of them still inside them?" And Milton says, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, then that was my daughter, wasn't it?" And Milton says, "Whether it was or it wasn't, it doesn't matter anymore, right?" And he goes, "That's all that matters." And he walks out. So Milton tells Andrea, "There's no deal. Like, whether there's a deal or not, he's gonna go kill. He wants Michonne, or basically he tells Andrea the plan is. He's like, he wants Michonne. Andrea says, Rick's not gonna give him Michonne. He's like, whether he does or not, it doesn't matter. He's gonna kill all of them. And she's like, well, I have to go warn them. Or he says something else. Like, she doesn't really believe him. So then Milton takes her to the room. And then at this time, I believe, right before this scene happened, when Milton approaches him, I didn't even notice this at the time I was watching it. The governor has all these medical supplies in a little box, and he starts taking them out and putting them on the table and looking at them and touching them like Freddy Krueger or some shit. One of them is this thing you put. Anyway, so I don't know what's going, but I was just like, holy shit, he's really gonna torture her like really badly, and Andrea's looking at this and she's like, he's sick or whatever. I have to go warn them, and you're coming with me to Milton. And Milton's like, I can't do that. And he goes, I'm more useful here at Woodbury. And then she's like, and they don't know me in the prison. Like, they're not going to accept me. They go, they accepted Merle. They'll accept you. Like, you have nothing to worry about. And he's like, no, I knew the governor before all this happened. Philip, right? I knew Philip before the world fell. Like, and she goes, that doesn't matter. And that's the whole premise in the downfall of Milton. Milton's whole belief structure for the zombies is that he thinks that there's something left inside them that he can somehow maybe find a cure or something and they can come back. It's the same way he feels about the governor. He thinks that the governor is still the person he knew prior to the civilization falling, before the walkers took over. And he thinks that he can get that person out, like that guy, but the governor's gone. The walkers are walkers. They're dead. They're reanimated corpses. They're no longer a part of what they were. And that's why Milton tragically fails in his quest, as we're going to see it coming up. So then Andrea goes to the gate to try to get out, and Tyreese and Sasha there. This little bullshit argument ensues, and then Andrea pulls out a knife. She's like, forget this. I can't keep lying to you. And then she goes, I'm leaving. And he goes, whoa, you can't leave. And she pulls out a knife. She goes, leave me alone. And she tells him, this place is not what it seems like. There's some really dark shit going on here, and it's not what it seems like. So then she wanders off. So then Tyreese has to tell the governor that this happened. And then the governor's like, okay, well, I need you to go with Martinez, you, Sasha, and those other two guys you were with, to go do some job. So then they get into an argument, Tyreese and the guy that he was with, the white guy before, that's wife died in the prison, in the prison. They get into an argument because somehow, before we got to see any of this, Tyreese saved his wife. And then the guy's wife was on Tyreese like he was like her savior, her God, or her husband, and looked at him a different way, or at least the husband thought this. And Tyreese is like, that was all in your head. Like, that wasn't what it was like. She was just scared at the time. Like, you're just looking too much into it. It's like, listen, we've been together for a long time, like whatever. Because he basically tells them what happened with Andrea, and then like they were like, you're messing this up for us because we're gonna get kicked out because you let her go. And he's like, what was I supposed to do? He's like, you're supposed to stop her, she's crazy. And then he's like, she's friends with those guys over there, blah blah blah. So they get into a little spat here. Then they end up going to this pit, and Tyreese is seeing, after what Andrea told him, what the fuck is going on here. And he's like, wait a second, you're gonna use these walkers to attack the fucking people in the prison? Like, they got women and kids there. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, what? Like, Tyreese is like not down with this, and Sasha too. And she's like, so then they get an argument, and the guy gets mad again. Tyreese like pushes him and is about to throw him in the pit, and the guy's like, do it. Tyreese looks, so we see that Tyreese has a short fuse and he could blow it at any second, and Sasha's like, please don't. So he doesn't. This puts them in a little bit of a predicament with the governor coming up later. While this is happening, the governor finds out that Andrea left, and he's on a mission to find Andrea. So that's what the whole episode's about, basically, is the governor finding her, tracking her down into a warehouse, and then Andrea's kind of stuck in the warehouse and she's trying to get out, and the governor's there and he's breaking glass and things, so this way she has to step and he can hear where she is, and it's this little cat and mouse chase until finally there's nowhere else for her to go. There's a walker inside the warehouse. She pushes the walker, kills him, but that gave out where she was. So the governor comes. As Andrea goes to open the door and leave, as the governor's going to approach, there's a hallway full of zombies in the stairwell, just filled with zombies, with walkers. So she closes the door, she turns, and there's the governor, and he's standing there, and he's ready to fucking kill her because she knows everything now, and she's going to go warn Rick, and he can't have that. So he's like smiling, he's ready to go up to approach her, and he's walking towards her, and then she just opens the door and goes behind it and closes it, so she's shielded, and they just walk right in towards the governor, and then he has to fight them. But the look she gave him was like, yeah, motherfucker, we're not friends or lovers anymore. It's over. It was a badass look. Lori, I forgot her name, Lori Holden, whatever her name is, fantastic actress in the scene. Just that look was so great. It was so, it conveyed all the emotions she was trying to release in that entire in the entire episode. It was great. What happened after that? Then she walks away, and we hear the governor fighting with the walkers, and we think that maybe the governor got attacked, and she got out safely. She leaves, and she's headed for the prison. So then we see a scene later that night as with a pit, and all of a sudden, gasoline is being poured all over these fucking walkers that were in the pit that were supposed to be taken out. And matches set, and they all get set on fire. But we don't see who did it, so we don't know who was it. Was it Tyreese? Was it Sasha? Was it Andrea? Did she go back there first and find that and do that? We don't know. Obviously, it wasn't Andrea because she's headed for the prison. They kind of kept it ambiguous for you not to know. So then Andrea gets to the prison. She can see Rick at the tower. She's about to wave to him, and all of a sudden the governor grabs her, pulls her down, and he's covering her mouth. And then Rick looks like he thought he saw something, and then he takes his rifle. He starts looking, and then he's looking like great acting, because he's been seeing things before, so he doesn't know. But he thought he saw something, and if he just looked a little more, Rick, he would have saw us, right? You could have killed the governor right there. He has Andrea on the like he got her. She's trying to warn you. Oh, terrible, but good. It was great. It was like, oh shit, fantastic. Then we go back to Woodbury, and that's where. No, we go back to the pit and we see like one of the other guys, the black guy that doesn't have I think he has one line the entire season, or maybe two. He sees that all the walkers have been killed. The governor returns to Woodbury. Martinez tells him what happened. Martinez tells him that the incident the day before, that the people that let Andrea go, Tyreese and Sasha, had another problem at the pit the day before. And maybe it was them, or he thinks it was them. So the governor goes to interrogate them. He finds out, and they're like, listen, we're not cool with this. And he goes, it's just a precaution. We're not going to do it. And he says, why didn't your guy tell us it was a precaution? Like, you're just using them like in case. And he goes, well, we don't tell newcomers that we don't know what our plans are going to be when we're trying to settle a feud with another, community. So Tyreese was like, listen, I'm sorry if this, we still want to stay, whatever. So then the governor goes, okay, I hope this doesn't jeopardize us staying here. That's what Tyreese says. So then the governor turns around and he goes, hey, one question, where'd you get the gasoline? And then Tyreese and Sasha are just like, excuse, like what? Like, what are you referring to? So the governor sees their reaction and he realizes it wasn't them. So then he goes, never mind. My mistake or something. So he walks out, and then he sees Milton walking, and he calls Milton, and then Milton gives it away. Basically, Milton says, I heard about what happened with the pit. I feel I'm sorry or something, whatever. He says, I hope you find the person who did it. Do you have any suspects? And he's just looking very like Milton's like saying, fuck you. That's what Milton's saying to the governor. He's like, fuck you. The governor's like, it was you piece of shit. Like, he just realized it was him. And he goes, yeah, I think I did. I think I found him. And he goes, oh. So he walks away or whatever. And then he just looks at him like, Milton's going to get it now. Milton and Andrea. I forgot how it ends is that us seeing that instead of Michonne being in that chair, it's Andrea. So, well, also that could kind of make you think, but at the end by saying, did you find the person? But it was obvious that the governor realized it was Milton. Milton was saying it was me. Milton walked away. It couldn't have been Andrea because she was walking towards the prison. The governor was going to the prison. He wouldn't have caught her if she stopped to divert and go do that. No. So if she would have stopped to turn to divert and go do that, she wouldn't have been able to make it back in time. So the governor knows it was Milton. Then we go to see Andrea in the chair that was for Michonne is now Andrea. So the governor's going to get Milton now, and he's going to torture Andrea probably. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think he would. I mean, I know what happens. I didn't think he would technically torture her because I'm like, you were just like, I guess this is a betrayal. I don't know. Even though she's trying to help everybody, but the governor's just a psychopath. He can't be helped. Another thing I will say, the governor was whistling in this entire episode whenever he was stalking her, kind of like somebody else. But the whistle he was doing reminded me of, I don't know what what that whistle is called. It's from a song, I would assume. But it sounds like there's a theme in Creepshow. I believe when they're doing the episode about the South, where the guy, Gordy, I forgot his last name, Gordy Farrell, Gordy something like that. The guy who finds the meteor, Stephen King. It was like, dun, 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 dun. That's the whistle. It sounds like he does. So I don't know what that whistle is, but Anyway, all in all, it's a good episode. I highly enjoyed this episode. And we're coming close. We got 2 episodes left to the season finale of season 3. Anyway, that's this episode. If you like this video, hit that like button. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about episode 14, Prey, of season 3. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.